Welcome back to the channel. Today is July 4th, 2026, and I am on the chart for Render, ticker symbol RENDER, specifically on the Binance 1 week chart. Okay. Before we get started, I am an amateur trader and investor. I have a day job that doesn't involve finance. I do not, therefore, have probably some of the nuance of a professional trader. So please keep that in mind as I am going through the charts. Another thing I want to mention is I do not have any money into Render. Okay. And this actually is not one of the coins I'm going to probably be investing in for this bull run. I'm just looking at it from a charting perspective, and what I see interesting in this chart, I can tell you that this is a pretty popular coin, a pretty popular asset. I don't know if it's going to make a new all-time high during this bull market, but I just wanted to mention that I'm not currently invested in Render. Okay, so with all that being said, let's just dive in and start talking about what I'm seeing in Render, and let's see if this can help you make a decision on whether you want to get into Render, and if I accomplish also teaching you some things about trading. In my mind, that's all my goal is. Okay, so Render has had let's see here. During its last bull run, which started right about here, it had a you see, as you can see from the ruler, it was 63 bars or 441 days. So since I'm on the weekly chart, each bar is representing a week. Okay, so this was over a 2 year bull run, and it went up about 3,475% from this low. Okay, so that was a very good run. All right. Since then, this is March of 2024. Okay. Since March of 2024, all the way down to here. Okay. And I'm just going to scooch it over. Okay. To about right here. It dumped about 96%. And this has been about 693 days. So again, a little bit over 2 years. And this was 99 bars. Okay. Now, uh, if you watch my channel regularly, I've been talking about wave theory a lot, and I just don't want to go into that very much on this particular asset. I want to talk about something else. But if you want to click my icon and look at the last video I posted, I go into more detail on what wave theory is. But here's what my thoughts are on where this chart is right now. Render's had 5 waves of its bear market, and it is now in a ranging market. And if you want to take a picture, you can just pause this and take a picture of where I put the waves. Okay. But we are now in a ranging market on Render. And that's really what I want to talk about is this range that we're currently in and what I'm seeing because it's ranging. Okay. Now, typically, it really depends on how popular the future of an asset is. And let's put it this way, on more assets, you're going to see uh, messiness with the bottom. Okay. Once you've hit the bottom of the asset, uh, it's not that it just all of a sudden starts going up. It can, but but you'll see this more on assets that are more popular. Okay, you will see this area that it looks like you're having the bull run starting, and then it gets dunked on. Okay, what's going on here, and this is what I really want to talk about today, is Render is showing a lot of signs of market manipulation. Okay, what is market manipulation? Okay, that is where larger institutional buyers like Wells hedge funds, uh, we're talking huge money. Okay, that's when they take a position in particular. They take a position in a particular asset, and therefore they manipulate the price to essentially get themselves into the asset. Okay, so imagine this. Okay, you you are a whale and you have $2 million, and you go to a hedge fund. You said, I've got a couple assets I want to, get into. I'm going to pay you, money to get me into those assets, and I'm going to put 1.5 million down on Render and half a million down on the latest meme coin. Okay. All right. So, whatever that is. Okay. And so the hedge fund, what they do is it's not like us as retail, traders going to Coinbase and laying down a million on Coinbase, because what's going to happen is you'll put in the $1 million order, and what you're going to see is you're going to see the price go up like this. Okay, large spike. It's gonna and you're gonna get a worser price by the time you buy all the $1 million units. It's gonna get worse because you're gonna create this big candle, and other retail investors are gonna see it, and they're just gonna start putting money into it, and this thing's gonna skyrocket pretty high, and then it's gonna crash down, and then it takes a lot longer for that investment to go through. So what happens is is these hedge funds, what they do is they put that $1 million in slowly. Okay, they have patience, and they also have the ability to manipulate the price. Therefore, if Render starts going up too fast, they will, if they've been already piling into it, they will do things to manipulate the price downward by selling. Okay, and what their main goal is, they're looking for deep pockets of liquidity that they can hide their purchases. Okay, but even though they do their best to do this, once you kind of know what to look for, you can tell clearly that this is being done. Okay, and so what I want to talk about is, what do you want to look for to see if market makers and whales are are manipulating the price of a product. Okay, so step one. Okay, like I said, the bear market is over for Render. We have now transitioned to a ranging market, and there's only really three states that a particular asset can be. It can be in a downward state, a flat state, and an upward state. And the way you can tell which state you're in is by the moving averages. Okay. However, when in this ranging area, okay, we don't have waves. Okay. This isn't, for example, oh, this is wave one and then wave two. No, no. Okay. It's just going up and down until it decides to move on. Okay. So what are the signs, like I said, that we are seeing market manipulation? Let's first take a look at the volume indicator. This is the default indicator that's thrown on a chart whenever you create a brand new one. Okay. It's very easy to find on TradingView. And what I did is I went into the settings of this indicator and I turned the volume moving average on. Okay. So if we go back to this point here, okay, you had a little bit of a green. Still, you're below the volume. You're below the moving average volume. And, you had these two red candles and everything looks normal. And then first sign of manipulation is this is a bearish hammer. Well, it's almost a gravestone doji, okay, but it's a green candle. But you see how it has the long wick to the downside, and I would call this at a weird location. All right, because you barely even start. You're still in this inside bar of this candle here, And even it, as you can see, you have long wicks to the downside and long wicks to the upside. Okay, these and the candles are smaller, and so price is being crushed in. This is, like I said, buying and selling at a big scale at the bottom. Now you see this. Okay, somebody made a larger than needed purchase. It rose, and then on the next candle, which is the next week, you see it sells. Then you have another downward bearish handle, and then it's all of a sudden reversing. And as you can tell, the price action is not smooth. Okay, you've got it rises, then goes down. You start seeing longer wicks on the candles. See how this candle here has a longer wick. This is just all signs of buying and selling, buying and selling. However, it's not doing it smoothly or naturally. That's because market makers are moving in. Okay, and you can see this. Okay, you had two volume candles. One touched the moving average. One exploded over the moving average, and then you have the whole the whole buying pressure here sold down. Okay. Now you may say, okay, why is the market manipulators doing that? Well, what they're doing and is they are trying to reach. Let me bring up my highlighter. Or actually, maybe let's do this here. What they are doing is they're going to try to push price, frustrate current owners of render. They're going to try to get to this area here. Okay. All right. Now, this is not the bottom of render. It's near the bottom of this channel. The bottom of render is this price here, which was 42 cents. And we have a support line holding at about $1.22. And the upper channel is $2.67. Okay, so this is a wide channel. But again, like I said, the bull market is not started on this. It's just ranging. Okay. So the market manipulators are going to want to get down here. Okay. And the reason why they're going to want to get down here is because down here, even though I can't see it, but I can guess it, okay, is there are traders and smaller retail investors or smaller hedge funds. You have trading groups and things like that. They probably have leveraged longs sitting in this area. Okay. So, what these people, the hedge funds that are trying to help their wells get into the price, what they're going to do is they are going to push this price down, okay, over the upcoming weeks, okay. And remember, they're more patient than us, okay. All right, they don't care when the bull run from render starts, okay. They just know that the bear market's over, and that sometime this year there's going to be a bull market starting from render. So what they're going to do is they're going to manipulate the price all the way down here, maybe even to here. Okay. And sorry, I don't know why that I accidentally cleared that. All right. And then what you're going to see is all these leverage longs, because these are trades that are based on borrowing money to buy more shares than they're usually able to. They are going to have no choice. They have automatic stop losses. These are going to get wiped out. Okay. And when those leverage long gets wiped out, they're going to have their orders ready. They probably already have the buy limit set up. They're going to snatch up all these tokens of render. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of buying pressure, but they're not going to care. Okay. It's going to go up. It's going to start going up. Now, the question is, when this happens, okay, uh, what is, the question is going to be, did they get positioned? Because if they didn't get positioned, what's going to happen is they're going to let the price come back up here. And you may even see price go above this line, and then it crashes again and they come all the way back down here again. And maybe at that point they are in position. I can't tell you the future, but I can just tell you what's going on here is there is it sometime, I don't know how long it's going to take to get here. They're looking for these liquidity longs right there. Okay. All right. So those are the games being played by people that have a lot more money, taking more risks. Okay. I am a longer term investor, so I don't actually have a stop loss set up. Okay. All right. Now, and again, I'm not even invested in this coin. Okay. But if you are not invested in Render, okay, this is your first time and getting invested and you're wondering, you've been looking for a crypto investment, then this area here, and like I said, this is $1.22 to about $2.67. This is a good area to buy. And I don't recommend just throwing all your money in at once. So let's say you have $100. What I would recommend is you set up buy limits. And one buy what you can do is if you do a buy limit, you'll say you have $100, your first 25, you'll just throw it in now, wherever price is. Okay. Then what you would do is you would set up three more buy limits, maybe about here and maybe here. And then I would save one buy limit for below here somewhere. Okay, somewhere around here. So just like how Wells and big people are doing, they're going to accumulate in this bottom area. Okay. Now, if for some reason you set this bottom buy limit too low and price only comes to like right here, then all I would do is I would hold that buy limit there because like I said, they could do two runs to the downside. Okay? All right? But I would just leave these other buy limits once they get hit, you just leave it in. Don't do anything. Don't set any stop losses. Okay? And if for some reason, okay, price does this, in other words, this bottom area buy limit never gets hit, then what's going to happen is the price is going to go over here and it's going to run into some minor support, sorry, minor resistance, okay? Because as you can see, you've had a little bit of resistance here. So it's going to sort of create this area is going to be resistance, okay? And what you're going to probably see is the price do this, where it gotta get my tool back. Okay, it's going to kind of come back in here, okay, and then go up. So if it looks like if the bull run's starting, you've already got your position in down here. You cancel that last buy limit and you set your buy limit right where this support line is, maybe a little bit above it. And what you're gonna see is your first wave of the bull market is going to come up here. And when it has its pause, it's going to come down and most likely come very close to this support, this resistance line, and then it's going to start taking off. Okay. All right. So that way, even though you didn't get the very lowest here, you have you're still getting your last entry of the $100 you had to invest is going to be here at a good price. And then you ride the waves up like we've talked about in other videos. Okay? All right. So that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk today about Render. Um, with anything that you invest in and anything that you're looking at, uh, I um, I really encourage you to take it to the Lord. Okay, pray to Him about these things. He does answer prayers about finances and your concerns and troubles that you're having. Another thing I want to mention is today is the 250th anniversary of the United States. That's where I currently reside. And God has blessed our country greatly. You can definitely see God's providence in our country. There are stories and folk tales that aren't taught in schools that clearly show that God had, you know, blessed us. Like there's stories about George Washington escaping near death when he was a younger man, and I guess I'll go ahead and just say the story. He was riding a horse. This was before the revolution. This was during the Indian Wars, and he got shot, um, and the bullet went through his jacket and never touched his body. Okay, and this was as they were retreating from pursuing enemy, which was Indians, and that story was talked about all a long, long time ago. But in the last 20, 30 years, it's never talked about. Okay, uh, it's never talked about in schools. It's just one of those stories that is an example of God protected George Washington that day, and that's because he had plans for him. With that being said, I wish you many blessings. I hope you, if you are living in the United States, please have a good 4th of July. Make some really great barbecue. Enjoy your day.